Welcome everybody to February 21st, which is the third part of our series, Black History Month series on common mistakes that Black people make and how we can get out of them. Today is going to be an interesting conversation, and I really would love for everybody to please, let's hear your voice, send us, share your opinions. And again, this is going to be on YouTube, so everybody knows it's going to be aired publicly. So let's have fun. My name is Rose Joshua. I'll be facilitating today. So I'm going to share my screen to get started. First of all, I want to say thanks to those who are sharing their video. Justine, thank you. Uncle Shayo, thank you. And welcome to everybody who is in the black boxes. Again, if you want to air your opinion, you will let us know. God bless you. All right. So today we are continuing on the series, trying to get the right screen to share. 1, 2, okay. So share screen. Part 3, 21 common mistakes Black people make and how to fix them. And it's very interesting because over the past two parts, part 1 and part 2, a few people have reached out and said, oh, you need to mention this one, or you need to mention that one. So it is a growing list, but no matter what, we have to finish on the 28th. So wherever we get, we'll stop there. But it's gone beyond 21 now, based on feedback. So the past 2 weeks, we went through, for everybody who wants to know what we shared the past 2 weeks, please go to YouTube and watch the videos. They're up there. So because we don't have a lot of time today and there's still so much ahead of us, we're gonna continue with part 3 right away. Okay? Feel free to stop me at any time. Again, today you are gonna do a lot of talking, not me. Thank you. So part 3, drum roll. We finished at number 10 last week. Drum roll for number 11. Drum roll. Number 11. It says young ones leaving home prematurely. We're copying the Canadian culture and we're doing copycats. And we're letting our young ones to leave home prematurely. Okay. We need to discuss, number 1, how it affects the family. Number 2, how it affects finances. And number 3, how it affects, everything else. So again, this is a case of in the Canadian culture, when they turn 18, they can leave home. As a matter of fact, some of them leave home before, at 16. Once they start working, they get to high school, some of them move out of home. And so our young ones are here seeing that. And so they feel like, oh, once I'm 18, I'm going to leave home. Now, how is that affecting us? Is that a good thing? If it's not, is it all good? Is it all bad? What are some of the good? What are some of the bad? Let's hear your voice. We have a few minutes to discuss that. Who wants to go first?
Okay, if I could go first.
Brother Shadrach, I acknowledge you. Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Technically, I don't think it's a bad thing if the kids want to, like emulate that kind of culture. But, Africans, we have our own thing. And sometimes when something is progressive or something can benefit us in one way or another, I don't think it's a bad idea if they can, they can also be part of that. And to me, it doesn't sound like a bad thing if they copy them. The only thing is sometimes somebody has to, you have to have some maturity. There has to be a level of maturity somebody has for them to be able to live on their own. I think, and then, with that, you become more responsible. That is just my opinion, I guess.
Okay. All right. So I agree, the maturity level is really important. It's not just anybody who can move out. And I do agree there's some good in there. Who wants to go next? Who has had young ones leave home? What have been the impact? What are your thoughts? Or who knows somebody who it has impacted? Okay, I have some questions for you. When young,
There are,
okay, go ahead, Brother Leonard, please go ahead. Go ahead,
so
sir.
for me, I'm just here to learn. My kids are pretty much young. My oldest is 16. So I thought probably to also benefit me just to, learn what other parents are experiencing and what kind of measure strategies they can use or they've used that worked, what didn't work. So I don't have much to say in this session.
Okay, sounds good. Anybody else? Okay, so I have a question for you. I think that one of the reasons, I've had this conversation with a few people. One of the reasons it's been brought up is because it's a copy, it's a culture of copy. We're kind of copycatting. And so the question is, when we copy, it's good to kind of copy the good things and not copy the bad things, right? So for example, when a child moves out, are they going to go renting? Or is it possible for us to, even help them to buy a property before they move out? So this is where we're kind of heading out that, we need to do a lot of math before, the kid leaves home, right? Should we be helping them to buy? And if they're going to go out just for the sake of it, are there alternative arrangements we can make at home where we give them more autonomy at home and they pay rent, whatever, because the rent that they would have paid outside, the money is coming from somewhere. And sometimes the money even comes from us. Sometimes a kid moves out and then comes back home and says, oh, mommy, can you lend me $200? So sometimes we finance all of that. So let's kind of discuss some of the financial dimensions. Anybody?
Well, maybe I can say one
Yes,
or two
Brother
things
Shadrach.
here.
Go ahead.
There is something called Canada, the benefit that is given to parents who have children here in Canada.
Child tax benefit?
Yes, child tax benefit. Now that is, I realize that is, it's given to, so long as you're a resident, you're entitled to it. So once you have kids who are, let's say, under 10, or even if they're born, I think after you're like within the first 30 days or 15 days, you can
Yes,
register a kid into so that you can start getting the benefits.
yes,
Now, what I've seen some strategies people are using is they're using that money to invest it into some funds
yes,
for the kid, and that kind of cash they can use in future. It's like you're entitled to it until the child is 18.
yes,
So technically, that money belongs to both you and your kid. You can use the money, or the kid can use the money.
yes,
Now, if you're looking at something like the future, you can use the benefits that accrue from investing that money in a fund
yes,
to put it down as a down payment to buy a house. You can use it
exactly.
to buy the kid can use it to buy the house, or you can use it to buy that house for the kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
that's great.
yeah.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Thank you so much, Brother Shadrach. Any other voice coming in?
Yeah, if I
Uncle Shadrach,
may.
go ahead, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a very interesting dimension that you brought into the discussion, as to, well, if they move out, they go to rent, where is the money coming from? And could they have stayed back and, build up some level of a reserve that will assist them to be able to make their own purchases. And I think it comes from what level of financial education they actually have before making that decision. And this is where the financial education becomes very imperative.
Yes.
Yeah, we can't take away the fact that, due to youth, what do they call it? Youth exuberance, they want to explore, they want to do some things. But if that level of financial education is there, and I'm sure they will be able to, it's like reorienting them, to
Yes.
think in that direction, and which may eventually serve them much better than, a couple, maybe 2, 3 years staying back will probably, go a long way or
Yes.
substantially assist them in being able to take that first step in life. Yeah, thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think we know where we're heading with this one. And that is, again, one of the reasons we run this town hall is to help our people to look at options and options that will help us to establish better in Canada. So as we raise our kids, so I'm talking to parents now whose kids are still home. So Uncle Leonard, you have somebody coming up in 2 years. What plans are you putting in place where if this child, for example, decides I want to move out at 18, how are they going to move out, right? So we need to, we're in a society where we're copying, but we need to copy strategically. Like we just can't copycat and make mistakes, especially financial mistakes. So parents, again, there's nothing wrong with a kid deciding, okay, I'm mature enough, I'm old enough to move out. They have to have a job. It's not just for the sake of moving out. They have to have income that will sustain their finances when they move out, right? And then parents, you need to strategically help your child to buy even the cheapest apartment. Like, Uncle Leonard, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I just
Go
want to
ahead,
make
sir.
some well, this is a little bit outside, but just want to appreciate brother Aden. I can't say the name. Aden Sao.
Olushayo Adekule?
Yeah, his background. I like the display for the books, literature. That was nice. I really like it. But in addition to that, you mentioned something about you have to prepare your kids to have a little bit of like financial literacy,
Yes.
in order to prepare them in the event that they decided to move out. Like if there is some practical examples, something that was done, like how did you manage to introduce them to that financial literacy? What values did they adopt after coaching or mentoring? I think that would be really interesting for me to just learn a little bit.
Okay,
Thank you.
Uncle Shayo, I think that's for you.
Yeah. So some of these things, we actually learn and pick up from the kind of discussions we're having like this. I know Dr. Rose has been putting out quite a number of videos out there, which, listening to and learning some of those things, you actually begin to think, oh, yeah, this actually makes sense. We can, use this, we can use this strategy. So that's where a number of, some of those insights, that's where they have actually come from, right? And I would say that it's not, how do I put this now? It's not, it's something that occurs over time, right? It's something that occurs over time. And there are times when maybe they make some decisions, they do some things, and when you have the discussion over that, they pose the question, oh, how about if, you do it this way? you know, how about if you go this route, you know, what do you think? And that sets them thinking, because if you look at, you know, they are exposed to a lot of things, a lot of information, and it's not something you can actually push down their throat, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
You know, it's something that comes from getting them to do some retrospective thinking on their own. And then that's how they come to imbibe some of the suggestions and the ideas, you know, that could, you know, they'll find useful. I don't know if I answered your question.
Sure. Probably like what you just said. Thank you so much. Yeah, that was a great, you know, summary.
Okay.
Dr. Rose probably may be able to assist me a little bit further. Say just like a practical example is to, let's say, you know, there's something that was introduced to a 16-year-old, 18-year-old, and then as a result of that, the kid end up being able to, you know, walk through this process, and now the kid happens to be doing certain things after that. That's what I was also looking forward to.
Yes. And so, Uncle Leonard, you and I need to sit down. So everybody get together with the person who invited you, Uncle Leonard, that will be me. So we need to sit down. So here's a strategy that we're asking everybody to take. As we have children here in Canada, we want to establish those children correctly. All right. So get together with your financial advisor, like the person who invited you here, sit with them and do a plan, rigorous financial plan for yourself and for your children, because these kids are here to stay. So if a child is going to move out at age 18 and the child is already like 4 years old, what do you need to put in place to start saving money in advance for when that child turns 18? So sit down with your financial advisor, the person who invited you to this meeting. Don't go to your bank, come to us, because this is a cultural thing we're trying to do. Don't go talk to a stranger. Talk to us. I'm saying this on YouTube, guys. Don't go talk to a stranger. Talk to us. Did I say that enough? I did. Okay. So here's the reason I said that. It's because sometimes we come to these town halls, our people, sometimes we take ideas and then we take the ideas back to our bank. It doesn't make sense. So the ideas are coming from us. We know how we are strategizing. I have personally strategized with a few parents already to help their child, 18-year-old, 20-year-old, to buy an apartment, to buy a house where, you know, for example, the child is in college, okay, instead of buying, renting in the hostel, they buy an apartment, the kid has 2 roommates, the roommates literally pay the mortgage, right? So there are strategies that we can adopt. We don't need to wait until the child is 18 and then we start scrambling. We need to put all those plans in place now. But the bottom line is this: we need to establish our children strongly so that they have a firm financial foundation to stand on, especially when we're not here. Make sense? Okay, this is a big topic. We can talk more about it, Uncle Shayo. Maybe we can talk more about it another time. But any questions on this one before we move on? Going once. So Uncle Leonard, you and I need to meet, okay? Going twice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. So the next one is, so we just finished number 11. The next one is, drum roll, working our way through. So this is number 11. Number 12, young ones not maxing out. Young ones not maxing education, not taking advantage of student loan, incorrect assumptions about debt, okay? Young ones not maxing education, not taking advantage of student loan, incorrect assumption about debt. Okay, so if you go to my YouTube, I have a video on take the student loan. It's titled Take the Student Loan. All right, so the reason why this is here is there are cases where our young ones decide, oh, I'm because the student loan is too high, I'm not going to take the student loan. I want to be an engineer, but it's 5 years, it's going to be $60,000 by the time I'm done. Therefore, I'm not going to take the student loan. So why don't I take this shortcut? Maybe get a diploma in electronic engineering, or diploma in petroleum engineering, or diploma in whatever. Or I really want to be a doctor, or the student loan for doctor is way too high. So why don't I just, take the shortcut of becoming, I don't know, LPN or healthcare aide, whatever. Now, I'm not saying that those professions that we just mentioned are bad, but I'm saying that we do have the provisions in Canada that can help our young ones to max out their education. But many of us are making the mistake of saying that because they don't want to borrow, they don't want to take a student loan, they cut short on the child's education. Okay, so let's hear our voice. What are your thoughts on this? And how can we help our people to move forward? Who wants to go first? Dead silence is not a good thing. Okay, Uncle Shai, I see your hand is raised. Please proceed.
Okay, I think it stems from the understanding of, is borrowing a good thing or a bad thing, right? Is taking loan a good thing or a bad thing? And it all depends on what you use the money for, right? And your understanding of, what you're going to get. It all boils down to financial literacy, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if it's the concept of, other people's money, right? Using other people's money. Taking loan is using other people's money. And if we understand it to the extent that, oh, okay, I can use other people's money now, and I program myself, right, on how to pay back. For instance, the interest on student loan is low, very low, right? I don't know exactly how much it is, but it's not comparable to what the commercial interest that one gets at the bank. So that's something that, look, actually, I'm getting some advantage, right, from taking that loan. And as long as I program myself, I keep it in focus, that I'm not sitting on it. I don't take it, get what I want to get, and then forget about it, thinking the government will forget. Government never forgets anything, right? So if we have that understanding and we program ourselves accordingly, it's a good thing to do.
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody else? Unmute yourself and say something. Okay. So when it comes to education, there are certain countries where people pay big money and do whatever it takes. Women sell their clothing to get their child educated. There are certain societies where education is very, very highly sought after. And I guess sometimes because we have it easy in Canada, we forget that there are some people who really, really suffer and go through hoops to get education. So we may not place as much value on it as we should. Okay. So somebody says to me, well, we were raised to go get a degree, get a job, and then what? Okay. Or how about instead of you go get a degree, we'll learn a trade? All right. Again, that's the argument of somebody who is taking a shortcut. all right? Or somebody who is living on what they call survival. Now, because having that education as high as you want, again, not everybody has to have a degree. There's some people who don't even want it. What we're talking about is if you want the education yourself, but you take a shortcut because you don't want to get a student loan. I think it's that borrowing that's the problem, right? So don't take a shortcut because you don't want to take a student loan. Here's many reasons why. So one of the first reasons is a lot of people go, oh, I don't want to borrow. But then they go buy an F-150 and they didn't pay cash for it. What happened? They borrowed. So why would we not flinch when we buy a $50,000 car and then we fall down and faint when we're talking about our education? So it's very inconsistent behavior. All right, so that's one. We buy very expensive cars that are worth more than our student loan. And we're okay with that. So why are we not placing value on our education, especially our children's education? They are our future. So let's think about it. Number two, we buy big houses. I'm a realtor. I've seen big houses that we buy. Many times we buy houses that we cannot afford. So why is it that we don't flinch when we buy a big house, but we get a headache, a migraine, when we're talking about education? So again, we need to prioritize education, and we should stop giving ourselves the excuse that, oh, because of student loan, we're not going to university. It is inconsistent, right? So here's an approach, and this is a solution, and then I'd like to welcome other people to come in with ideas for solution. Let's say your student loan is $60,000. Okay, it's a 5-year student loan, or let's say it's a 4-year student loan and it's $40,000. When you want to buy a house, then buy a smaller house. Instead of buying a $500,000 house, you can get a $350,000, $400,000 home and merge your student loan with that, and so that way it's affordable. So instead of filling in all your debt limit in the house, you need to accommodate and bring in the student loan. So that way, again, you have a manageable payment, as opposed to, oh, I'm not going to school. I'm going to take this shortcut, but I'm going to buy a big house that fills in my credit limit. Okay, I'm talking too much. Anybody, please, let's hear your voice. Debate on student loan. Why are we not maxing out our education for our young ones? Wow. It looks like this town hall is very quiet today. Uncle Shai, what happened? I thought the winter had thawed out. Okay. Anybody? Okay. Yes, Justine. Thank you. Thanks for saving everyone.
Thank you. I think many people in Canada do not understand the importance of education. When we talk about how system works, I think the major part of it is the loan they grant in the Western world. Because if Africans should have the same opportunity, I think it will go a long way. So I believe and I know that almost everybody in Canada live on loan. So let me use myself to give this explanation. If Nigeria, where I come from, run the same system as Canada, me, in fact, I will go to school to the highest level because I think it's helpful. If we are living on loan in Canada, everything you do here is loan. So I don't think we have any excuse when it comes to education. Because anything you do here is loan. You buy phone, you buy it on loan, everything everything is debt, debt, debt. So I think Africans and our African brothers, we should take advantage of it. It's very, very good. Not wasting it, using it to buy cars, houses, big houses. I think we can use it to develop ourselves too and be a better person, because I know that majority of Africans are suffering in Canada. They get 3 jobs, 4 jobs, 2 jobs because we are not in the right position. We don't take advantage of what we are seeing here. So let us use that advantage they grant us in Canada and build ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Okay. I think we have talked about this one enough, unless anybody has anything else to say about helping our children to get their maximum education. We can move on. But again, please, let's not neglect our children's education. Let's help them to get max education so they can max out their opportunities as they grow up in life. Brother Lee, I think you unmuted yourself. Yes.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for bringing this one up. It's I have to acknowledge that it's benefiting me more than most of the channel members, because it's really exciting for me, because I'm listening, I'm understanding the approaches of how best I can utilize the experience of my brothers and sisters in order also to support myself. And definitely, Dr. Rose, I'll be nagging you left, right, and center.
Okay. Yeah, you and I can meet offline for sure. Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you. I'm happy that at least, this is adding value. So next one, we just finished 11 and 12. Next one, drum roll. Who is going to guess this one? Anybody can guess this one. I don't know. Drum roll. So we just finished number 12. Drum roll number 13. And is the number 13. Families breaking apart. And we have here, it says big can of worms here. We're going to need a separate session for this one, but let's kind of talk about it with respect. It is a common mistakes that, we make in Canada. And it is becoming more common. And there are impacts. I guess the impacts are the things that we want to dwell on. Impacts on the family structure, impacts on the adults, the parents, impacts on the children, impacts on finances, impacts on everything. So this one is multidimensional, and I know that like it says here, we're gonna need a separate somebody actually inserted this one here last week. Said we can just touch on it and then have another session where we really dig deeper. So this person said we need to talk about the rules of our rules when we come to Canada as husband and wife. What are some of the challenges that we face when we come to Canada as a couple? And what are some of the negative outcomes? And what are some of the inputs that lead to those negative outputs? And yeah, this one is all over the place. I'm going to stop talking and let everyone just kind of help us. So why is it that when we come here, our families seem to be an endangered species? How can we prevent that from happening? And for those who are already in trouble, how can we help them to find their way back? Who wants to go first?
Maybe I can I can
Go
just
ahead,
say
Brother
just
Shadrach.
an opinion of mine. I could not be necessarily right, but relationships are built on, I think, expectations and sometimes that could be the reason why people deviate in their, you know, in their relationships. And I'm just giving a, you know, self-reference. I don't know. So it's a very wide topic and very personal.
Yes.
and everybody will experience it in their own different way. But usually the biggest culprit in such kind of situations is the expectations. If people can manage the expectations from the beginning, I think that's going to be, that could help.
Mm.
Yeah.
Expectations. Okay. When you say expectations, Uncle Shadrach, please unmute yourself one more time. What are some of the expectations that people sometimes have that leads to trouble? Like,
This one might be well, in my opinion, it's just that when it comes to providing, usually it's the man's duty. But in such a kind of society, people have to have like two salaries to help each other. Like for there are many bills, and for you to have to sort out those bills, you have to have some collaboration.
yes.
Yeah. So if that kind of mentality is not inside both partners, the mentality of one person's income helping to sustain the company, helping to sustain the family.
Yes.
The expectations could be on one person to provide everything, usually the guy, the man.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And in such cases, you end up with a lot of unexpected, what do you call them? Unmet.
Action.
Yeah, exactly. So that is just my opinion.
Yes, yes. I already know that we need to run like a family session. I know that. Multiple family sessions, but I'm happy that at least we're touching the topic now, even though very, very, very much at the tip of the iceberg. But yes, who wants to go next? Thank you so much, Brother Shadrach. What are some of the mistakes we're making as families? Why are we breaking apart simply because we came to Canada? A lot of families were good when they were back home. And then the minute we land here, trouble erupts. What's going on?
Okay, can I chip in something?
Mama Christy, thank you, Ma. Go ahead.
Okay, so for me, I think it's the culture shock for this child benefits, because I've had a lot of conversation with some people, and each time we have the discussion, majority of them, they are always like talking about this child benefit. And I am like, okay, before you guys came here, is it that there was no collaboration back home? Because for me, my understanding about the child benefit is, if for now, maybe if you are not working, you get a particular amount. By the time you start working, I think the money will drop. So why would there be conflicts because of the money is just too small for a husband and wife, as in for them to like start quarreling, fighting? I don't want to go too deep, but at least majority of us, we know the back and forth on this child benefits matter, because it has broken a lot of homes so far since I came. I've been hearing different stories.
Thank you so much, Mama Christy. So is it the child tax benefit only, or is just the thing called money? Because, child tax benefit is a very small amount, like you said.
Yeah.
It's not enough to cause a fight. Although, yes, I do agree. I have seen cases where it causes fights because the child tax benefit is usually registered under the name of the mom.
The mother, yeah.
And so as financial brokers, when I sit down with a couple, I usually will help them, encourage them to invest the money for the child. Just like we said at the beginning, Brother Shadrach mentioned it. The child tax benefit is not meant for us, it's for the child. So if we apply wisdom, we would spend the child tax benefit investing for that child, because that child is going to need that money when they grow up. All of these things we've talked about today, about buying a property, buying an apartment, not staying in hostel, buying an apartment in college, stuff like that. All of that can be funded by that child tax benefit. So I think that brings us back to the square one of, again, education, right?
Can I say something?
Brother Ugo, thank you, sir. Please go ahead, sir. You are muted, Brother Ugo. You are muted, sir. Oh, Brother Ugo, you're muted. If you're speaking, you're muted. Okay. While he tries to sort that out, anybody else? It's not just money. Here's another one. So back home, let's say, I think back home, we're used to the men providing. But what happens when, for example, when we come here and the man doesn't have a job yet, but the woman has a job? What are some of the matters arising from that? Okay, because again, is money. Anybody, please unmute yourself, say something.
Okay, yes, like you, sorry, can I?
Yes, Mama Christy, go ahead, ma.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I'm enjoying hearing from you, please.
Okay, thank you, ma. So like you said, then the culture shock here is both of you must do it together, even though we know back home too, you must work collectively to like do stuff to run the home. But I observe that when we come here, maybe because the women, we feel we have an upper hand, as in the society seems to like favor us, in quotes. So majority of us, we tend not to like respect our spouses. We now start feeling like, no, look, you can't tell me like maybe what you were maybe the way both of you were working together back home, you feel here, no, you cannot come and tell me, because I have some friends, they will tell me, no, all those ones that we used to tolerate in Nigeria, I cannot take it here again. No, this, it cannot apply. I cannot do that, I cannot. So they don't want to like work together as a team. They don't see themselves as a team, because whether we like it or not, this country, you have to work together as a team. You can't survive alone here. It's not rocket science. Me, I don't know how they do it, shall, but I just know that you must work with your husband, your wife. Everybody must work together. That's my own understanding.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mama Christy. And I really want to appreciate you. And I really want to appreciate the fact that this is coming from a lady. So it's not as if Mama Christy is beating up on women. It's just some observations that she has made, which we all have made. It's just that sometimes I know that our men, they don't want to talk about it. But I'm so excited that Mama Christy is opening up. And so, who wants to say something else before we finish on this topic for now? I know this is a big one, but yes,
Yeah,
Brother Ugo, go ahead, sir.
Sorry about that. So the moment I just spoke hit the nail on the head. So it's a combination of factors. We as Africans come from a largely patriarchal society. It's male dominated. And even like in the home, you expect a certain level of respect from your wife, which more often than not is given, right? But when you move over here, the society is different. It's not patriarchal, right? As a matter of fact, it tends to favor women in a lot of things. And so the women now feel that, okay, we are not like, we are not going to deal with, or we're not going to subscribe to what we subscribed to in the past. And often that usually that is the major factor that now begins to translate into other areas like finance, and so you find that the couples don't work together as much as they would have if they were still back home. So it's really that broken expectation that, okay, you were like this before, and all of a sudden it's almost like a breach of contract, if you like, know, and then that causes all sorts of problems.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So we're gonna I know there's a lot that a lot of people in this room have not said. I know that. So Uncle Shayo, we need to run like a couples seminar. We do have some qualified psychologists, counselors in our community. We need to actually help our families to start, to deal with some of these issues. And I do know that a lot of families are suffering in silence or whatever. So there are things that we need to do to help ourselves. We do have qualified people that can help us in the community. So let's plan a couple seminar soon this year, ASAP, this quarter.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good. But here's the thing, based on what has been said, I want to appeal to us, my brothers, my sisters. Let's protect one another. The fact that we're now in Canada, in a new place, with a new culture, does not throw away what we built. We should not throw away what we built. I know that when we come here as ladies, we feel like, oh, sense of freedom. We're now free birds. We can do whatever we want. The Bible tells us that the fact that we are free does not mean that, say, all things are lawful. Okay, Pastor, help me. All things are lawful, but not all things are expedient. So we may have the right to behave one way, we may have the right to do something, but we don't have the right to do everything before God. So let's remember that there's God. And our women, please, I want to appeal to you specifically. Let's protect our men. Let's protect our men. Let's protect their ego. Let's protect their psyche. Let's protect their manness. I don't want to use the other word, but man, the fact that they are a man. Okay, let's not forget the rule of God, especially those of us who say we are religious. Okay. On the other hand, I also want to appeal to our men. Please, let's protect our women. There are many things. I know tonight we've kind of leaned in the female direction, but there are many things also our men need to do, but today is not the day. I think just opening up this topic in this Black History Month, we need to begin to protect one another. When we got married, when we, exchanged vows, we vowed to take care of one another. So let's do that even though we're in a different culture. So I can go on and on, but I won't. It is 8:02 by my time and 11:02 in Halifax, where I know we have people here from Halifax. So here's, because we started a bit late, I'm going to quickly...
It's 9:02 in Saskatchewan. You don't call my own place.
Mama Christy, it's 9:02 in Saskatchewan. So, and Brother Leo, it's 10:02 in Ontario. I know. Yeah. So thank you all so very much for being here. We only touched 3 today. Like I said, I don't think we're going to finish everything during Black History Month, especially because new topics are being inserted as we go. I really like the topics that we dealt with today. I'm hoping that those topics will be of help to us. Once again, get together with the person who invited you. Let's put a plan in place for you, for your children. Let's do generational wealth planning for you, for your children. And I'm going to do a quick roundtable. Does anybody have one more thing they want to say before we wrap things up tonight? 1 minute. Who wants to take 1 minute? Okay. All right. Looks like we're good to go. Thank you all so very much. God bless you. God bless our families. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who contributed. Okay. Everyone who was allow themselves to be vulnerable, to really speak to us tonight. And God bless our community. God bless our families. Have a good weekend, everyone. God bless.
Good night. Thank
Good
you.
night, Mama
Good
Christy.
night.
We'll talk.
Thank you. Good night.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good night.
God bless.
Bye.
Bye-bye.